We understand now what's meant by strength training, how much strength training is recommended per week, the evidence for the benefit of 2 sessions of strength training per week. But what's going on here? Why would you live longer by engaging in strength training twice weekly? Let's take a closer look at the mechanism. I'm actually very excited about this topic because I've just learned about the role of myokines. So I'll get to that in a second. Strength training results in the following. It reverses age-related replacement of muscle with fat. As we age, our muscles are replaced by fat. And what's so interesting is that fat and muscle tissue are not just inert cells that exist to make us look fat or buff. They actually talk. Fat cells and muscle cells talk to other parts of the body. Fat cells create these adipokines, which are messengers which talk. And muscle cells create myokines, which talk. We're not going to talk about hepatokines, which are liver cells that talk. We're focusing today on adipokines and myokines because with aging, adipokines increase because fat cells increase. Myokines decrease because fat cells replace the muscle cells. So less muscle, less myokines. What's so interesting is that these two messengers talk throughout the body. You can think of adipokines as pro-inflammatory messengers. Kick up inflammation. You can think of myokines as anti-inflammatory messengers, decrease inflammation. And they do other things. And everything on this list is affected by adipokines and myokines in the opposite direction. And if it's a bad outcome, you can bet adipokines or fat cells are promoting it, and myokines or muscle cells are countering it. Adipokines promote insulin resistance, which leads to obesity and diabetes. Myokines or muscle cells decrease insulin resistance and increase insulin sensitivity. Adipokines increase inflammation. Myokines decrease inflammation. Adipokines increase atherosclerosis or plaque buildup in the arteries. Myokines reduce plaque buildup in the arteries. Adipokines lead to decreased energy expenditure and weight gain. Myokines lead to increased energy expenditure, increased metabolism, and weight loss. Adipokines lead to increased appetite and lower satiety or a less sensation of fullness after meals. Myokines lead to decreased appetite and greater satiety after meals. Adipokines lead to elevated blood pressure. Myokines decrease blood pressure. Adipokines endothelial dysfunction. Myokines endothelial proper functioning. And adipokines counter lipid metabolism or breakdown of cholesterol. And myokines increase lipid metabolism or breakdown of cholesterol. Why this is so exciting is that all of these problems are basically the usual suspects for what goes wrong in the body over time. And the fact that we have one agent that can do so much, on the one hand, to cause these problems, adipokines, and on the other hand, one agent to counter these problems, myokines, is a great key to understanding and preventing health problems. In other words, anything that we can do to promote muscle tissue in our body and decrease fat tissue in our body is going to have a major positive impact on a host of effects throughout the body that occur downstream. So we've said that strength training results in a reversal of the usual replacement of muscle with fat. We've said that that increases myokines and, among other things, decreases inflammation. Inflammation causes a whole host of other problems, including cancer. So the fact that myokines help as an anti-inflammatory is one of the main pathways whereby muscle training has been proven to reduce risk of cancer. Strength training also increases lipoprotein lipase activity. Lipoprotein lipase is an enzyme on muscle tissue that takes up cholesterol from the bloodstream and metabolizes it, breaks it down. If lipoprotein lipase is active, as it is with exercise, then we remove cholesterol from the bloodstream. If we are not active, then lipoprotein lipase activity is less and cholesterol remains in the bloodstream, where it can produce plaques which eventually lead to atherosclerosis, heart attack, and stroke. Strength training also increases GLUT, which is a muscle glucose transporter. GLUT are transporters on the membranes of muscle tissue. They take up sugar or glucose from the bloodstream in response to insulin. When we exercise, when we strength train, that GLUT transporter is more active. It is better able to sense insulin. It's more sensitive to insulin. It's better able to take up glucose from the bloodstream and get it out of the bloodstream where it can do harm. That reduces risk of diabetes and obesity. In addition, strength training increases metabolic rate. This helps lower risk for obesity. And strength training increases bone mineral density. One of the main reasons for increased risk of mortality as we get older is hip fractures and falls. Strength training reduces the risk of hip fractures by improving bone mineral density. We've described the incredible benefits of strength training, mainly because instead of fat as we get older, we replace it with muscle. And replacing fat with muscle means a whole cascade of anti-inflammatory effects in our body which prevent chronic disease.